Hi, my name is Julian. Welcome to my channel. I like to make stuff. No, that's rubbish. Hi, my name is Julian HG. Welcome to my channel. I like to make stuff. Oh crap! Oh Christ! Molly, here's this. Here, come. Snoop. Stay. Snoot! Snoot! Yeah, nearly. Snoot! Good girl. Snoot! Snoot! Sit! Snoot! You stupid dog. Snoot! Good girl. My name's Julian. Welcome to my channel. I like to make stuff. Hi. Wow, it's been ages. I think it's been 2.5 months or so since I've posted a video, and I thought I would give you guys an update what's going on. Basically, I've been really busy in real life. I have been doing lots of other interesting projects that aren't painting based. Suddenly I realized that perhaps I should be making videos about some of the other projects I do, not just painting. It's a tricky one because this channel that I started has been basically based on me learning to paint, and I feel like I've sort of made some progress there, and I'm sort of I can already feel myself being pulled towards different areas of creativity, I guess. I like to do lots of different things. I love to learn stuff. I'm still going to paint, and I still love painting. I haven't painted for at least 2.5 months, but I have got some paintings that I'll be doing in the next couple of weeks, and they will be going up as per normal on the channel. I just thought I'd let you know some of the other things that I've been doing. Perhaps you could let me know whether you think you like the idea of me posting these other projects, or whether I should start a new channel. I don't really want to start a new channel. It's taken 18 months to get this 800 or so subscribers, and I understand that you have subscribed for watching painting videos, but I'm hoping that you've subscribed to watch something interesting, and if I can still provide that interesting content or video, perhaps you would still be interested in watching the videos. So essentially I've just been doing lots of other stuff and not much painting, or in fact no painting. I've got a sort of interest in electronics. I like to build things with my hands. We'll just go through a few things here that I've got on the desk. For instance, this is, so I bought a 3D printer. Let me start with the 3D printing, because that's very interesting to me. I've had a 3D printer now for, it's got to be 9 months, something like that, a good while, and I've printed quite a few things with it. But let me just move these things out of the way so you can get a good view. If I just focus down here. So I'm going to be talking about all these projects around here. Let me just focus there. Okay. So 3D printing is just incredible. It has enabled someone at home like me to design, well, anything really. If you can design it, you can make it. You may have to make it in parts and then glue it together afterwards, because of the nature of 3D printing. It prefers to build things from the bottom up, because it starts on a build plate, and it, like a toothpaste tube, it kind of squirts the hot plastic out, very accurately mind you, in sort of special where you tell it to, and in the end you end up with a little plastic part. And all these have been printed by me, certainly not all designed by me. For instance, this came with my printer, this design, and it's just very interesting because This is a bearing, and you can see it spins really well. Let's see if I can get a nice close-up. Look how lovely that spins. And that cannot be made except for 3D printing. So it can't be made, all these separate parts can't be made in some other process and then assembled, because you can't fit them in there. It's like a jigsaw puzzle with no solution. The only way to make it is to make it from the ground up, whole as it is. So this came off my printer, just like this, all stuck solid. And I sort of held the middle and I twisted and it snapped the little bits of plastic. This is how accurate 3D printing is these days. So these are all spirals. You've got some left spirals, right spirals, and another left kind of, what do they call that? Is that like a, something with solar system? Solar ring? Anyway, a ring around the side. So this is the kind of thing you can make with 3D printing, sort of interesting things like that, or actually more useful things, like this is a clamp I use. This was completely 3D printed in several parts and assembled. This one I got off Thingiverse, so that's a nice little clamp. Now, just sort of more interesting bearings. I like mechanical things. I'm not very good at engines, building, you know, fixing cars, that kind of thing. It's something I'd like to get into, but I'm more interested in kind of technical aspects of mechanical things. And here's a lovely slew bearing, all 3D printed in plastic in several parts. There are alternating cylinders in here all the way around, and it makes a lovely bearing. And this I got off of YouTube, but I'll put his video in the description, link in the description, and he makes really interesting things. And yeah, so that's a slew bearing. That's the kind of thing that you'd see in a huge digger. So that's got really good sort of lateral force tolerance. Here's a smaller one. It's a bit loose, this one, but this has got 10 cone-shaped bearings in it, as opposed to balls. Most ball bearings have circular spheres in, but because these are slew bearings, they're different. More things I 3D printed. So I'm also into electronics and build little gadgets and things, which I'll be coming on to in a minute. And often I'll put these big lithium-ion batteries in a project to give them massive battery life. So here's a little 3D printed tray to glue my batteries in, and then I've got a battery management system here. Then sort of glue that on there and then do all the soldering. And an example of that is here. Let me reach across here. Here is my enormous, great Bluetooth speaker system. Now, unfortunately, I used an old speaker that I had when I was about 15, 18 maybe. I bought it, so it's good 20 years ago. And because it was old, it perished and it blew up. But you can see the back there is the battery pack with the battery management system stuck on. And there's a little Bluetooth unit there. That's a passive crossover for the different frequencies. At the top here is just a sort of voltage indicator. You can't see it because it's so bright from my studio light. And on off you've got forward, back, next, left, right, that kind of thing. So this is just an old speaker that I cut down. It was actually way bigger down to here, but unfortunately the cone here has been destroyed. So I need to make a new one of those. I want to make it slightly smaller. It's actually, if I just move the camera back, you can see there's a pair, there's a left and right pair. So right, so that's the kind of stuff for the electronic stuff. You can 3D print in rubber. So I do a lot of running and I get through a lot of running shoes and they're really expensive, and I suddenly thought, well, perhaps I can 3D print my own soles for my shoes, because that's the only bit that wears out, and perhaps I could do that. Anyway, printing rubber is difficult. I have to explore that further. So here's 10% rubber infill, really flexible. This is 60%. That's about right for a running shoe, I should think. Because you can design the actual shape of the infill in these things, you can create some really interesting effects. Like most things, when you squish them down, they spread laterally, but now you can print infill with a very special shape that when you press it down, it actually shrinks. It would be good for suspension, basically, which made me think this would be good for running shoes. Anyway, that's something I need to explore further, but I've just been doing this kind of thing. Also, when I build little mechanical gadgets, often I need sort of pulleys. Like this was for a washing machine motor, and there's a washing machine belt, and some of them have 9 grooves or 8 grooves or 7 grooves. And I 3D printed this pulley here to go on a metal shaft, and you can see there are holes one side's a hexagonal hole and one isn't, and you'd put the nuts in there and then you'd screw through from the other side and pop it around your shaft, and before you know it, you've got a really lovely, perfectly sized pulley. It would cost you quite a lot to buy in the shops or online, but it's just a bit of time designing, and you can do that kind of thing as well. Essentially, you can just solve your problems, your sort of minor home problems with 3D printing. Like, for instance, I'm getting on a bit now. I'm nearly 40, well, nearly 46, and my eyes aren't so good. And usually when I'm doing these projects, I'm wearing these really uncomfortable magnifying glasses. They're like really cheap and horrible. They're uncomfortable, but they do really work. But they're heavy, and I can't wear my headphones. So what I did was, I took some of those lenses which come with it, and I 3D printed a little kind of gantry kind of system for my glasses, and I can wear them. I can wear my headphones. I mean, this is just a prototype, just an example of how 3D printing can kind of solve a little problem. Within sort of 2 hours, I had got my own glasses, and I was happily doing my electronic stuff and wearing my headphones, which is the whole point. Basically, my interests, I guess if you had to put them under headings, there'd be kind of electronics, electrical projects with sort of programming involved. For instance, here, if I just bring this into view, this is a Geiger counter I made years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Where's the on switch? Is that the on switch? Yeah, okay, so you can hear it clicking. So each time that clicks, an alpha particle or gamma ray or something has passed through here, beta. This is the Geiger-Müller tube. I bought this from Russia on eBay. And I've got some radiation sources. So this is, I built this 10 years ago. I didn't have a 3D printer. So it's been stuck like a bunch of wires, and it's not very useful. So I'd like to make an enclosure for that and then make it all neat and tidy. I've also got a GPS tracker for it too that I can plug on, and it will record when I travel around the county or whatever. It'll record the background radiation level, and then you can get back home and load it up to Google Maps, and it'll give you a color chart of where the radiation levels were higher than others. It's just a really interesting little project. I've got some samples here that I bought on eBay. So this is a uranium marble. Uranium glass was very popular 100 years ago. So this is reasonably radioactive, like, you know, totally safe still, but above background. Background is sort of 1 or 2 clicks a second. So that's background. That's with the marbles, and that's just a little bit of uranium in the marbles to make them a nice green colour. Now this is I think in the 20s to 40s, or maybe even the 60s. Uranium is a very interesting element. It has lots of colour, lots of different colours, and it was very used by the paint industry and also the ceramic industry for different colour glazes. So this is a bit of plate that I bought off eBay, and it's got uranium glaze on it. So listen to this. So that's actually fairly radioactive. And that's just a tiny piece of crockery. Here is another piece of uranium glass. I found this in an antique shop nearby. Cost me a couple of quid. But you can see that kind of green glow. That's uranium in the glass, and you can hear it there. That's quite high. Still totally safe, of course. But here, see if I can get it to focus. Oh, it's too high. Anyway, here, this is actually uranium ore. This is actual ore from the ground. It's very low concentration, but check this out. I mean, that is essentially off the charts. So that's another thing. Little electronics projects that I like to do and building enclosures for. 3D printing is perfect for that. Let me turn that off. Something else that's fairly useful. So I have a sort of workshop outside that I like to buy things on eBay, real cheap, and sort of try and make them useful to me somehow, repair them and make them more specific to my needs. And this old table saw that I bought for 20 quid on eBay didn't have any hoses, it didn't have any system for removing the dust. So I have a kind of a big workshop vacuum outside, and it's a 10 centimeter cube, huge great thing, and it sucks extremely hard. And what I 3D printed was this kind of adapter that turns the large diameter into 4 smaller ones, and then I can take the hoses to the different parts of the table saw, or maybe a sander. Anyway, that's the plan. When I sort my workshop out eventually, that will be all fixed up there. Things I'd like to do over the next few years are build an electric bicycle, and if that works well, maybe even an electric motorbike. We'll see. That's a big project, and that will be probably a whole series of videos in itself. Wind speed, so I do a lot of cycling, and the wind speed and direction is important to me. When you're cycling, it is nice to know which way the wind is coming from, which is why I did the weather vane project in my previous videos, link in the description, with such a nice bearing so that I could see exactly where the wind was coming from. I will build a kind of a wind speed thing, and also I have already started on a wind direction device. I designed this in sort of a couple of hours. So this is just a plastic kind of vane, and in a housing there is a linear actuator, I think it's called. My brain's gone dead. This is what happens when you get old. Anyway, I'll put it up on the screen what it's really called. And there's another housing here, and then you'd put that into there, and then you'd put this. Ooh, this would go on the pole or whatever you have up on your building, and the wind, I'll pop it down there, the wind would make it spin. The device inside is a very accurate angle measurer, basically, and you can get it to broadcast on Bluetooth or to a web page the exact direction that the wind is blowing. And if you marry that up with a wind speed device as well, that would be very useful. Now the most kind of interesting thing that people get excited about when I mention I've made it is my safe cracking robot. Now this is a work in progress. So I like to buy things on eBay, dirt cheap, and I bought a safe, a really nice key safe. Well, it's a safe that I'm going to use for stuff to keep outside that needs to be secure. I've just put a piece of paper over here because I've written the combination on it. But basically it's a really lovely, heavy-duty Ministry of Defence. This was used in the Ministry of Defence for holding national secrets, and because of that they used Mark IV manifold Chubb locks, and they are renowned, even though they're ancient. This is probably 40-50 years old. They are extremely good combination locks. Now this one works, I have the combination and it works, but when I bought it, the guy I bought it off said, do you want another one? But I can't get it open. I don't know what the combination is. So he almost gave it away. I got it real cheap. I just thought it was such a fun challenge. I love a challenge. Cracking a safe would be absolutely brilliant. And I thought, what's the best way of doing it? Well, I could sort of get my stethoscope out and sort of do it old school. But these are fairly renowned for being very good locks. So, and I'm not a safe cracker by any means. I thought I'd do it brute force method instead. So what I've done is I've built a little kind of robot device. It's just 3 plates of steel with a really beefy stepper motor. And in the above I will put another linear, whatever that device is called. Below is another a kind of flexible shaft. And I built this a year ago before I had my 3D printer, and I got as far as this and I had it all turning robotically and everything. But because I didn't have a 3D printer, this This is just a hose adapter that I glued onto a bit of wood, and it's never fitted very well the dial. So now I have a 3D printer, I will make a cup that fits that perfectly, and when it spins, it should spin nicely. You see the numbers there? Yeah, so I've made holes in the plates so that eventually, if I want to get super clever, I can make, can you see just through this hole here, you can see read the numbers. So eventually maybe I could put a camera here and read the numbers using optical character recognition, as opposed to just sort of knowing where the stepper motor started and how many steps it's done. I can actually do it like you do it when you're a human and sort of use your eyes, and it would use a camera instead. So that's a project, safe cracking robot. That would be a fun one to do. Bluetooth stereo I've spoken about. I'd like to make a little machine or device to put the bins out. We live in a lovely plot here in Britain, and the one drawback to it is we've got a really long driveway and we have to put the bins out once a week, and it's sort of a 400 or 500 yard trip, and we either use the lawnmower or the truck to do it. But I would love to make a little electric tractor with a kind of a lift mechanism, because the bins can get very heavy when they're full. So that's another thing I'd like to make one day. Oh, and another electronics 3D printed thing is this thing at the back. This is a camera slider. So when I started the painting channel, I just had a webcam, and I used to do everything with that very low quality kind of production. But I bought a lovely camera, the one that's filming now. It's kind of upped the production value on the channel, and it's mean I can zoom in on things, which is great. So let me zoom in on this. So here's a stepper motor, and here's a 3D printed base for it, and there's a little rotating pulley in there, and using this belt with teeth on it, it's a pulley belt, I can move this platform all the way down and back at whatever speed I like. Now, if I mount my camera to this nut here, I can get all crazy sort of Spielberg-esque kind of effects, camera slide effects. I'll show you one now. So I hope you enjoyed that little 20-second horror movie with my lovely dog Molly. But that's the kind of thing you can do with a camera slider. And all it is just your camera moving slowly. That's all it is. but it gives such an odd effect. If you've made it this far through the video, well done. You deserve a medal. If you have, that's awesome. So finally, projects that are at least related to painting. Like I say, I'm still going to paint, but I'd love to try sculpture. I'm probably going to be terrible at sculpture, but I would love to model things. For instance, Molly, my dog. Let me just zoom out here so at least you can see my hands. Because yeah, seeing hands move is better than nothing. Sculpture, and that would mean moulding, wax, and that would lead me on to something else that I've always wanted to do, which is casting, which would mean making, in order to cast something out of bronze or copper or tin, or even lead, which is very, I mean, lead I can probably melt with just a burner, workshop burner. But to do copper and tin and mix them to make brass or aluminium brass or bronze, I would need a proper huge furnace. And, well, not huge, but it would be a proper furnace with insulation bricks, and that would be a lovely project to do. I've always wanted to make one of those. And that would enable me to use the lost wax process and turn little sculptures or things you make from wax, or 3D print. So you can 3D print something, cover it in plaster of Paris. Here's something I'd like to make. This is a YouTube play button. YouTube have got this thing whereby if you get 100,000 subscribers, you get a little, they send you a little thing, and it's a gold plated plastic button, and it says congratulations, blah blah blah. Anyway, I'm nearly at 1,000. I'm very nearly at 1,000, and I thought it was a perfect excuse to try casting. Now YouTube don't send you anything for 1,000. I mean, literally, if I put Molly on the internet, she'd probably have 1,000 subscribers in a week. But I'm not as cool as she is, so it's taken me ages. But when I reach 1,000, I would love to cast a bronze or maybe even lead YouTube play button, and I've 3D printed this one. I designed it a couple of days ago, and I might even infill it with a brass or copper colour in here. If I make it out of bronze, I might even engrave it or something. But anyway, I could burn that out, cover it in plaster of Paris, leave a vent and an in tube, burn it out in a furnace so that the plastic burns away. Then you fill it with bronze, and then you've got yourself a lovely, you've got to tidy it up and stuff, break the cast, and you've got yourself a lovely bronze item. So that would be a good excuse to try and not burn my workshop down. Another kind of thing that's sort of connected with art and drawing and metalworking is I'd love to try engraving. I follow loads of channels on YouTube. I just love YouTube. I've bought myself this tiny handle here. Was £3 on Amazon. I can't know, maybe £5 on Amazon. It was like really cheap, like ridiculously cheap. And I've been following some engravers, and they make the most exquisite engravings on metal. When you look at a really beautiful, fancy gun, they've often got lovely scroll work, or if you look at someone's nameplate by their office, outside their office, someone may have put some lovely scroll work on there above their name. I'd like to try my hand at that. Sounds really interesting. And so I bought this little handle. This is what you make gravers out of. A graver is what you engrave with. Now this is a special steel by Glen Steel. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's a square profile. It's absolutely tiny. And somehow I need to sharpen that into an engraving tool, a graver, and then pop it in there, tighten it up, and then you get your piece of metal and kind of tap, 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 tap with a hammer, a chasing hammer, tap, 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 and you kind of make your own engraving on a piece of metal. So that's something I'd like to do. Actually, talking of hammers and chasing hammers, I'd love to cast my own hammer out of bronze. That would be a lovely little project. And then I can engrave that hammer, except I'd need another hammer to engrave that hammer. Anyway, so yeah, that's engraving is something I'd like to try my hand at. So that's kind of painting, sculpture, casting, engraving, wood carving. I want to maybe have a go. You may have seen in my older videos that I have a Latin inscription. I'll take a photo and I'll sort of embed it sort of up here on the video somewhere. But I'd love to carve that onto our porch. I will tell you what it means another time. So, and then there's more kind of outsidey projects that I'd like to do. More kind of garden orientated projects, like I made an owl box about 6 months ago. We had a barn owl in our garden. I didn't know at the time that we had an barn owl, and the owl box blew down. It had lived its life, it had rotted away, and I was just a bit slow in replacing it. I built a lovely replacement, but in the meantime the owl had moved on and found a new home, which is a real shame. It's only when I took the old one down that was all rotten that I realised that it actually had a barn owl in it. It had the owl pellets and everything, so he had been living in it. So I'd like to make a little owl box this time and put that up in the garden. That could be a nice project. On a more industrial scale, I've always wanted to dig a well, a big old well shaft, you know, a proper digging, maybe 15-20 foot down, maybe 7 foot across diameter well shaft down into the garden. We've got a lovely big plot here, and kind of Fred Dibnah style. I don't know if you know Fred Dibnah. He was a sort of a legend in Britain, and he built a mine shaft in his back garden along with tunnels and everything, and I would love to do something similar. Now I understand that it's a huge project, but at the very least I could do the well shaft and have it brick lined and do it sort of Victorian style with a cast iron ring being dropped down the well shaft, and then as you dig it out, you drop the ring and you put more bricks on it. You brick up to where you've bricked before, and then you dig more down, and then you lower the ring, and then you build bricks on that ring all the way up to where you've had bricks already before, and then sort of pinning metal pins into the soil through the edge all the way down until you get to whatever level you want to. But I'd love to get to sort of 15 feet and then put an arch in the side of the tunnel and then dig horizontally and maybe make a little room, or I guess you would call it a bunker, but it could be a good cold store or just fun little grotto or something. And you never know. I've got a massive garden. Perhaps I could have a whole network of tunnels. Who knows? But that brings me on to another project I'd like to do, sort of a more mechanical one, and that is making a digger. If I dig the well shaft, I think that would all be done by hand except for the initial sort of 5 or 6 feet. But I've got a little model of a digger here. So this is a little child's model that I got on eBay to have a think about making my own digger. We have lots of projects and we occasionally rent a proper little micro digger, a caterpillar digger, but it costs an absolute fortune. And when I get it here, I only spend a fifth of the time on the digger digging, and the rest of it is kind of laying out and planning, and so it's a bit of a waste of money when I hire it. And if I could build my own little mini version with actual hydraulics, so it wouldn't look like this. It would look like a much less beefy version. It would certainly have a platform here where I would sit, and I may not have a slew motor. I may use my feet, but it will have 1, 2, 3 hydraulic rams and probably just a reach of about 10 feet, possibly, maybe a little less. I don't need it too big. The bigger you get it, the less mobile it is, and it would be on 2 wheels and a couple of skids at the front. The bucket would probably only be 6 inches wide. Anyway, these are projects that people have done, and with enough research, I would love to do it. And I can't afford to buy my own proper Caterpillar driven one, but I could certainly think about making my own. And that would be an awesome project to do with several. That would be like a whole video series in itself, I should think. And also, if I make it small enough, I might be able to drop it down into my well shaft and then use it to dig horizontally. That would be the idea there, and then we can use it for all our garden projects too. Nikki, my wife, has got a lovely veggie patch that we made for her last year, a couple of years ago. We've got lots of cables and internet wiring and lots of stuff to put. We've got an owl box down at the bottom of the garden that's actually got a pigeon in at the moment, and it's got a camera in there. Sorry, not a pigeon, stock dove. They're kind of a protected species. But an owl will get rid of it eventually if it wants the owl box. And in order to get the picture down to us at the house, I've laid cables and power and water lines all the way down the field to the owl box. So we have power and water down there. I just need to do a bit more digging and connecting up some wires. So a digger, that's a big old project, but that's something I'd love to do. So I've talked about the owl box, the well shaft, possibly a bunker, or I guess it could be called a cold store too. Like during the sort of Second World War, people had cold stores They had bunkers too, actually, but you'd store your vegetables there, and they'd a folly. I've always wanted a folly in the garden. Actually, quite a big folly would be quite nice. Big enough for sort of 10 people to sit around a lovely fire inside. Maybe make it like a tower shape with arches. Maybe have it above the bunker or the shaft. Who knows? The well shaft. All things that I could be thinking about over the next few years. So I've talked about the forge, furnace to melt the copper in the tin. Basically, I love to make things with my hands. Since you guys seem to find my painting stuff interesting, I thought, you know what, I think you guys might like this other stuff too. What other things? Oh yeah, so with the digger, if I make it, I will need a trailer that tips, because there's no good picking up soil and then putting it in a pile and then moving the soil by hand. You do need to pick up the soil, put it in a trailer, drive the trailer to where you want the soil, and then you tip it out, and then it's done. So a tipping trailer is something, I will probably make that before the digger as a practice run, because it'll have hydraulics on it, but it'll only have one ram instead of 3 or 4, and it'll be a sort of a smaller introductory project to hydraulics. I have 2 trailers here already, and one of them I should convert into the tipping trailer. Just lots of little things really. Oh, here's I've got a piece of metal here I wanted to show you guys. Where is it? This goes along with the forging. Oh, I've just found a 3D printed skull that I made. Now this is made out of glow-in-the-dark plastic. How cool is that? I will show it to you glowing in the dark now. Was that cool? I don't know. I haven't done it yet. Future me will be doing it soon. It's extremely accurate. You can see all the holes where the nerves come out. You can see where each of the different skull bones cross. It's actually been made in 2 parts. A lovely thing like that. So you can basically print anything. Let me see if I can find a nice thumbnail. Also a carbon, so I do some cycling. I'd like to make some carbon fibre cycling shoes. Playing with carbon fibre and resin might be fun. I've actually just purchased on eBay an amazing vacuum chamber that will be very useful in all these casting projects I've been talking about. For making moulds and taking the air bubbles out of things, you can put it in a vacuum chamber, remove the air bubbles, and then cast with that material. Anyway, it's ancient. It looks like it's 100 years old, maybe pre-Second World War. It was such a bargain, and it's sort of 2 hours away in the car. I've got to pick it up this weekend. So anyway, that's something else for the project, for the workshop. So I'd like to make some a lovely kitchen knife, along with the forging and the casting and the sort of fire and the brimstone type of projects. I'd love to make a lovely kitchen knife. I bought a piece of Damascus steel. Now if I can find it, I will cut to it now. So I bought this on eBay. I mean, one day I'd like to be able to make my own Damascus steel, but just check this out. Isn't that incredible? That's etched. Now each little thing, it's a fold. So this person who made this, these are 2 different types of steel, high carbon and low carbon steel, and it's been folded, re-welded, flattened, folded, re-welded and flattened until you get these lovely, beautiful shapes. I could do either a kind of knife like this with a tang, and then I could make a lovely wooden handle, or I could do a more sort of conventional kitchen knife like that. But anyway, we'll see. Let me see if I can get a close-up on that. Oh, that's better. There we go, that's what I should have been doing. So that is a lovely piece of Damascus steel, hand forged. Oh, there you go. If you can see on the edge now, you can see the different steels there. So I bought some etching material, and I would file down the edges and cut it, and yeah, I think that'd be a really fun project. I think that's basically it. There are a few other projects that I would like to keep secret, so I haven't mentioned them, but I'm excited about them. But I've got so many ideas that I think I just need to get on with it. I'd love to know your thoughts, basically. If you've managed to get through this ridiculously long, God knows how long, it's 40 minutes or something, maybe even 50, then thank you. You guys are awesome. And subscribe, please. RIBE. If we can get to 1,000 people, 1,000 subscribers, I will make this bronze play button, and I would love to do it. So let's get to 1,000. Thanks for watching. I'll be posting some painting videos in the next couple of weeks, probably at least 3 or 4 of them. And then I will start doing some other projects as well as the painting projects. I think I will always be doing some painting, but I think the channel is going to evolve into a more kind of a creative, workshop-y type channel. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please give this a thumbs up. Please subscribe. If I can hit 1,000, I can get on and do this forging, and I would love to do that. Come on. Bye.